rotation. So that's not going to be tight enough to stir up a tornado. Doesn't mean it couldn't happen. So we need you to, especially if you live near like Lacey Creek Drive or Shiloh Road, if you can get into your safe place, I would do that. Alberta, same, into your safe place right now. But this is the area that we're looking at. It's right over Broadway Square Mile. Let's go back to the camera and I can show you what we're talking about here. You can see there's a lot of rising scud with it, so I can see why a lot of folks would be looking at that and thinking perhaps these are not funnels, okay? We don't have to worry about those. We're probably gonna have to spin the camera around, maybe even, let's switch it over to our CBS 19 studio camera. And we may have to look, because it's coming right up over Biloxi. Now I'm looking at it, these clouds are moving pretty rapidly, but, okay. All right, so that's a good vantage point there. Okay, so let's look at this. So again, that's a portion of it. Now we would have to go back to the left a little bit, I think, to see the lowering that we want to really be interested. Okay, so there, keep an eye right there. All right, so we have a tornado warning in Smith County. This, I'm not sure exactly if we can zoom in a little bit. Do we have a, wait and see. I need a confirmation. Let me go back to radar, because we have to kind of correlate the two things here. So that would be, there's Biloxi, there's Shiloh. So we just came up to Biloxi. That's where our camera now, from our CBS 19 studio camera, is going to be, here's Troop, Loop, like right here, looking this way. So let's go back to the camera now. Maybe if we put that into double boxes, if we can do that. Okay, so that is definitely a wall cloud. All right, so we have a wall cloud right here. That's the Walgreens. There's the CC's Pizza. Okay, so it's looking over Biloxi, kind of off to the west. And that appears to be rotating. So this is worthy of this tornado warning. That's pretty close to maybe spinning up something. So we need to keep an eye on that. Look how close it is to the ground. So let's just keep watching that. You can see this part looks to be rotating. So we may, again, let's go back to radar real fast so I can just, anybody that is near Broadway Square Mall northward, near Biloxi west, back up in this way. So here's the TV station at 110. We're looking this way at that lowering. So let's zoom in on these neighborhoods here. We'll tell everybody to get into their safe place. So Old Jacksonville Road, Donnybrook, Old Bullard Road, Azalea Drive, Sunnybrook Drive, Robertson Avenue, Old Jacksonville Road, Troop Highway, Old Noonday Road, West 2nd Street. I'd head to your shelter. If you're watching us right now, we have a tornado warning in Smith County, and by the looks of our camera image, it looks like we have somewhat of a very close lowering and very close to producing something at this time. So I don't have anything confirmed yet? No?
No, nothing confirmed.
Okay.
It's just rapidly strengthening or rapidly rising cloud motions.
Yeah. So Chandler Jordan is in here. We were just talking about the rapidly rising cloud base on this. So let's go back to that camera angle again. So we are at the Loop and Troop Highway. And so this is going to be the Troop Highway going north. So you're looking over the Andy Woods neighborhood. So if you were in Andy Woods, you need to be in your safe place. So this right here, look at that. Okay, let's keep an eye on this because we may have something. Yeah, we may have a tornado right there. It looks like we may have a tornado. Yeah, there it is. Okay. We may have to pan that a little bit to the right, or I would say the camera a little bit to the right. Okay. Yeah, I think we have a tornado in Tyler right now. Can you see that? Can everyone see that? If you're looking at this, there it is. Very rapidly rotating, clouds drifting up. I believe we have a small, that looks like a small tornado right now. The Andy Woods area. If we can go in a side-by-side picture so that I can show folks the camera and the radar image, because that is a tornado. We have a tornado in Tyler right now. We have in Smith County on this evening, and that is a strengthening. There's some lightning. Again, anytime you have lightning that's increasing. So right in here's where I'm watching. We had a tornado right there. Looks like it's roping out a little bit. It may be weakening. It's going to regenerate here in just a second. Let's go back to radar real fast because we need to show folks where this is. Savannah, I need to widen this, or I can widen it out a little bit. Oops. All right, came off. Let's go back. Do we have the camera back up? There we go. For some reason, we have this on. Let's see. Oh, bummer. We have this for some reason on on where I'm trying to pan and do two things at one time, and that is not helpful. We need to get rid of this way we do this here. All right, I'm trying to get back to that radar image. Yeah, there it is. That's the tornado. That is going over Green Acres.
Yeah. That's Green Acres Church right there.
Yeah, that's going over Green Acres right now. And there's also another tornado warning in Zandt County. So this is going to be right up here. I'm going to go in on where, let's see. Okay, so let's now put that side by side so you can see what's going on here. So, all right, put me over top the map, and then the camera can stay up. All right, so, all right, then we need those side by side. So this is Rosemount, right? Okay, and then this is going to be Elm, so it's right in here near Rosemount. It's also Garden Valley Road. So if you live in the Garden Valley Road area, this is likely right over top of you currently. And we don't know if there's any reports of any damage, but that certainly looks like it has touched down from time to time. At least the condensation funnel is there. There's our bright red area on Old Garden Valley Road. And let's see, Rosemount Street, West Irwin Street. And it looks like it may have even moved up toward Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. It's in a really inconvenient place. This is why this other shot that we have up, this camera, is so important. You're seeing what we call range folding here in the purple. And so what's happening is the radar images that are coming in from both Shreveport and the Dallas-Fort Worth area are just basically getting bent back down to the ground. So it's very tough to see what's going on here. So if you're in that Rosemount area, if you're on the northwest side of Tyler, please get to your safe place right now. Just saw a flash. I'm not sure if that wasn't maybe power lines touching, or perhaps the tornado going through power lines, causing those to arc and to stir up there. Let's take that shot full, because that tornado is on the ground. You can see it spinning. All right, we're going to wait. I'm going to see if I can find some. Let's keep watching that. But again, if you are in Smith County, please get to your safe place as soon as possible. All right, what I need to do here, I'm going to see if we can pick up any kind of debris. We do have a debris tracker that we can use. And there's some flashes again. Okay. If I can get an engineer here into the studio, we need to get this fixed, because this is not helpful in this coverage right now. I'm trying to, okay. If we, yes, switch over to Max 2 for us. Let's go to Max 2 if we can. All right, so there we go. And then we're going to need to switch over to not a composite radar site or image, but we're going to need a real image. Yeah, that's good. And we'll just zoom in on that. Plus, we got to tell you that there is a tornado warning. Also, let's take Max 2. Let's go to Max 2. Max 2 is up. That's still Max 1. Okay, let's go back to Max 1. All right, Savannah was able to control Max 1. So here we are. Okay, so we need to pan down here, because our tornado, if we still have it, and it looks like it has lifted for the time being. So we'll pan down on this side. Okay, so it was right up in here, but again, we're having those issues where we're seeing that range folding. So here would be our tornado if it's occurring, and we had it on confirmed on camera. All right, let's go back to our camera angle here. It looks like this rotating portion of the supercell has now moved across across Troop Highway. So it's going to be more up in this vicinity here. So let's go ahead and pan this down a little bit and take a look at that cell from the other way and go up, not toward Bascom, but you need to go up toward the northeast side of town, up to 71, out in that area there toward Owenton, maybe toward, yeah, right up in there. It's so tough to see just because we're looking at they had a spotter reported a funnel on the ground at UT Health Hospital at 5th and Beckham. So that's what I was showing you. So if we can find 5th and Beckham on our map here, that would give us a better idea. So that's going to come back toward downtown a little bit. So zoomed in here. So it's going to be in that red. You zoom out a little bit. Yeah, I think you're okay. I think you're fine right there. That looks a little bit too far to the west because 5th and Beckham will be. I think it's right in there. Okay. So we're looking right in here. Okay. So about that 5th and Beckham spot. That's where you're seeing on the camera, and some flashes of lightning. So it looks like for the time being, this funnel that was, I believe it was a tornado for a time on the ground, but did not see any debris. And we are panning around. I think we were locked in on a good spot there. We're going too far back to the north. I think we were right on it. Go back to the left, Chandler. You were right on it there before. That's where the lower ring had produced the cell just a little bit ago. So it's right in here where we have the tornado warning until now, till 7:30. So that's been extended. So you can see there on the camera, right in that area, as it's crossed over Troop Highway. It's just by our TV station and our advertisement that we have on the top of the building. So it looks like that cell is kind of crossing underneath or behind that for a moment. So let's take that fool again, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if you're in the 5th and Irwin area, if you're anywhere on the north side of Tyler, please head to your safe place and stay there. This May is going to be right up in here. We'll go back to the camera, full screen. And if we, when we do that here, I'll be able to show you right in here. This is what we're watching. So again, that's going to be 110. You'll get up to Beckham up here. So at 5th, and then UT Health Hospital, they had a report of a funnel on the ground. So this is likely lifted past that or moved past UT Tyler Hospital a little bit. But right here is what we're talking about in terms of potentially, and keep an eye right here, looks like the rotation could be tightening up again right here in that area on the northeast side of Tyler. So let's stay in our safe place if we can, because that cell is certainly looking like it's trying to reorganize and get a little bit stronger again as it moves in that area. A little bit of an inflow notch here, some inflow winds coming in. And let's go back to radar, and or side by side if we want for a moment here. So it looks like things have widened out a little bit, not looking as strong. Let's widen this radar image out just a little bit. This tornado warning goes until 7:30 again. That's FM 850. This is essentially the area that we're keeping an eye on. All right, so this is going to be, we're right here, the TV station. Our camera is pointed up in this vicinity here. It does look like this has at least widened out or gotten a little bit weaker at this time. But I would not let my guard down if I live, and let's zoom in on this part of town so we can give specific instructions to folks to where they need to be sheltered up. All right, so Commerce Street for sure. Let's be in our safe place there. Anywhere along FM 14 out toward County Road 376, East Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in that area, out toward County Road 381. And let's say where 271 meets up with the loop and then it runs across and goes west. In that area, I would also be in my shelter at this time. We have about 20 minutes to go in this tornado warning. It may get extended just simply because what we're looking at with the camera angles here, and you can see that on the other side of the screen. So that's matching up with what we're looking at right here near County Road 374. Is that 374? 376, okay? And Montgomery Gardens. And then also the Industrial Avenue toward 271. So you know where 271 comes in. There's the gas station there with the Whataburger. There's the donut shop is just up the road a little bit on 271. So if you live anywhere near there, you probably want to head into your safe place right now. That's the industrial park is right there by, you know, the Denny's is there, the hotel is there. So in that area, you certainly want to be, if you live anywhere close to that, you certainly want to be in your safe place as this cell continues working northeastward. All right, let's switch back to reflectivity if we can. And in the meantime, maybe what we can do here is go back to that camera, because that camera certainly looks like it's got some more, or a possibility of, yeah, I'm still having problems with this, Savannah, sorry. Yeah, that we're getting a double image, and I just can't control that map from there. So this is the cell. This is the tornado warning till 7:30. This is the portion of the cell. You can look at all that lightning. There's a ton of lightning that has increased with this cell. So this is the cell. It started down near Bullard as just a small thunderstorm. A couple of thunderstorm strikes, started moving to the north, quickly gaining speed. If you were watching at about 6:25, we showed you the updraft strength increasing also with that cell. As it continued to move to the north, the lightning exploded on top of it, and then it began to show rotation. Several spotters, trained spotters, said they saw rotation, but the rotation within the thunderstorm itself was pretty high off the ground and did not look like it could. I mean, there was a tornado warning attached to it. It was a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible based on, and here's where this is so critical. This is why spotters, trained spotters in the field play such a vital role, and ham radio operators play a vital role in what we do in trying to relay that information, because they're working through one person who then sends that information to the weather center or weather service, and the weather service is assessing radar, we're assessing radar, and then when you get eyes on what's actually happening at the ground, remember we're looking several thousand feet in the air, you get eyes on the ground, and then suddenly you can see a funnel, and then it eventually becomes a tornado, as we saw here in Smith County tonight. Hopefully we don't have any damage. I did not hear reports of any damage, but the lightning in this cell has strengthened so much now that this is a very powerful thunderstorm, and we may get this tornado warning to extend past 7:30, but right now it goes until 7:30. I'm showing you reflectivity, and it just kind of gives us an idea of the shape and size of the storm. If we turn off the lightning perhaps, and then maybe run this just on a 1 hour loop or a 2 hour loop, we'll be able to see how, so you can see just how this thing, and there's your inflow coming into the storm. So this is not your typical hook echo type of tornado warning. It is likely back here on this side of the storm, but again, it had that perfect motion here in East Texas. Storms that are going to move from the south to the north are going to have inflow here, and they're going to have any type of rear flank downdraft that develops, and then your rotation is going to develop right in here. It looks like a little bit of a hail core has developed north of Highway 31 as this cell is now moving closer and closer to the Walmart over toward Highway 31, and will continue lifting back to the north a little bit. So I wonder if I go back to a velocity, if we can get a better view on that. That'd be the next graphic down. There it is. All right, so we'll clean things off. I think we can see it a little bit. That still shows velocity that's it's really widespread. It's right in here, okay? So this is the whole rotation itself within that cell, but this is the strongest portion of that rotation. Let's go back to our camera. Back to the camera here, and again, we're close. It's moving farther away from our camera, so it's a little bit harder to see. But this was essentially over Andy Woods, moved across the loop, moved through Irwin, 5th and Irwin, near UT Tyler Health, and now it is moving up in this area here, closer to Highway 31. So that's going to be out in the Highway 31 area. If you are there, you need to be in your shelter till this threat passes, and this threat will continue till 7:30. It may continue past that. The thunderstorm itself is trying to reorganize, but it's definitely rotating and has been for quite some time. So that tornado warning is going to be for northeastern Smith County, now northeastern side of Tyler, northeast Smith County, moving out toward Owenton here in about the next 10 to 15 minutes. Any reports, you guys both have mics on, any reports of any damage or anything from Tyler?
The only thing I've seen is a little bit of damage reported on TJC's campus. Other than that, though, just funnels spotted around Green Acres as well as UT Hospital near 5th Street in Beckham. That was about 5 to 10 minutes ago with damage reports from TJC from local fire department here in Smith County about 7 minutes ago.
Okay. So this is one of these instances we talked about the tornado threat being low, but it was you couldn't rule it out. And last night in Oklahoma, they had a lower tornado threat, and it spun up a couple of tornadoes. And here we go on April 20th, 2023, you have a tornado in Smith County, and there may be some minor damage reported with this. But we'll roll that tape back at some point here tonight and look at that. We'll likely have that for you tonight at 10 o'clock. I'm just seeing now, if we go back to radar, severe thunderstorm warning. And Savannah is going to widen this out for us. So it looks like what will happen at 7:30 is that this rotation will be replaced with another severe thunderstorm warning till 8:15 with tornado possible. And it's going to be all tied to that rotation there. This is our Titan indicator, and it shows us some medium range rotation. So not anything particularly strong. It is, in fact, if you look at that, the tornado impact on that right now is about a 0.6. The wind impact is a little bit less. There are some dime-sized hail reported within that cell. And the hail impact would probably be the biggest portion of that cell. Maybe it gets up to quarters, just a 80% chance that we're seeing some bigger hailstones than that. So, all right, let's take that off. We may be getting into a bigger hail core. I showed you on reflectivity how it looked like a hail core was trying to develop with that. Let's go back to reflectivity and maybe take off the lightning so we can see, yeah, right in there. So you may have some big hail just crossing over 31. Moving northeast toward Owenton. So there could be upwards of at least, golf ball sized hail, if not bigger, in that cell right there. So that's the hail core. The portion of the warned storm itself moved over downtown Tyler, and it's now generally in that vicinity, closer to Highway 31, between Owenton, Browning, and right out here into northeastern parts of Smith County. Let's go back to the west. I want to see if there's any other tornado warnings issue. We do have this tornado warning for Martins Mill in Zandt County and the city of Van, also under tornado warning, and Ben Wheeler, and that goes until 7:45 for Zandt County. And that is another area of rotation that is showing up here, and there's a fair amount of rotation over Ben Wheeler right now. So that tornado warning is also within a severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 7:30. There's nothing confirmed here. We don't see those hatched lines. Those hatched lines mean that a tornado was spotted or confirmed. Here, it just means we have it on radar. So that bright green would indicate we have a fairly strong rotation. That's, again, on that Van Zandt cell. Let's go back over to the Smith County cell. And there is some medium rotation showing up with this as we continue tracking that storm. Savannah, let's turn take the Titan indicator off. It is moving to the northeast about 25 to 30 miles an hour. Let's put a cone on that and see exactly where that area is headed over toward Owenton and Winona, and give everybody an idea of what time it may be arriving in those areas. So that, again, that's pretty good, about 30 miles an hour. So that's up towards Starville at 7:32, Gladewater at 7:51. When it gets to Gladewater, it's likely going to be a severe thunderstorm warned cell with a tornado possible tag on it. That's what these black lines within the yellow box would mean. That's also headed toward East Mountain, Glenwood, and Grace until 8:17. So this is our rotating cell moving overhead. All right, we're going to go back here to our camera.
It's blocked. The rotation itself is right behind the little dome we have on the roof of the building.
Okay, so we have to wait for that rotation to come out of that. Can we see it from our other camera, from the...
I'll check the Tyler camera and see if we can get over there.
Yeah, I mean, it would look north, but we may also have a block of a building. Plus, I mean, it's going to be a farther shot from there. You can see, if you look at the top of the screen there, there's still some lightning going on here. If you look at the top of that screen, the camera, you can see how the clouds are kind of inflowing toward the storm. So they're coming in from the southwest, so there's quite a bit of southwesterly flow into the storm. So this looks like it's gotten just a tad stronger here within the last few minutes as that rotation's tightened up a little bit. Just a little bit, but still not seeing anything that would have us super concerned. Yeah, the National Weather Service saying this Tyler storm is moving very slow, 15 miles an hour. It sure is. And they're also saying core is getting better on the Tyler storm. Definitely potential for at least quarter-sized hail in that storm. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like the Tyler, there's a brick building on our Tyler camera that's going to be blocking where the rotation is currently located.
Okay. But it's up in here. And moving northeastward, as we gave you the rundown. Gladewater within about a half hour from now. So if you're within the tour, we have to always say respect the polygon. So this is what we call the polygon. So if you live in Owenton, we need you in your safe place. If we drill down a little bit into that, you'll see County Road 384. Definitely need to be in your safe place there. FM 2767, if you're 38 or 384, definitely in your safe place. North Church Avenue, you're behind that circulation. Also out toward Tyler State Park. No worries there, as this has moved its way east of that, but it is going up 271 toward the interstate as it lifts northeastward. And Owenton would be the next town, and it is in the polygon. So that tornado warning going for about 8 more minutes. So we're going to stay on through that as long as we can, and then we'll see what happens here. We may get an additional tornado warning off of this, but again, seeing the yellow outside of it, we have a severe thunderstorm warning till 8:15. That's for Gregg Smith and Upshur County. So we know we had at least some minor damage reported. We watched and tracked this tornado from near Andy Woods, near Paluxy, where the rotation tightened up. We had visible for you on camera that tornado moving across the north or west and northwest sides of Tyler, then over downtown, close to the UT Health Hospital, right up there at about, I think, near Houston, near Stanley's Barbecue, and then moved up here into this area. So there may be a little minor track of damage through that area, but again, we'll wait for the Weather Service to assess that. But let's take a look outside. All we can show you here from this vantage point is just we're looking into the backside of this storm as it lifts northward. The rotation that I'd want to show you right now is going to be behind our advertisement that is up on the wall. So it's somewhere back in there. But again, you can see the lower clouds that are on either side of that. So that's what we've been watching all night. And again, it moved from southwest basically to north and to the east a little bit. All right, back to radar and giving you another look at this cell out here near Martins Mill. That looks like a stronger circulation. That tornado warning has now been extended till 7:45 for Zandt County. This tornado warning here south of Winona, that's east of Tyler. Winona is still outside of the polygon, and I believe we just had a flash flood warning issued into that part of the cell, into the storm, and that extends all the way up to Winona. These storms are moving really slowly at this time. Yeah, flash flood warning for Smith, given the slow storm motion, and more to come from the west. Interesting to note that when we were looking at the data, the line of thunderstorms was forecast to move rapidly from the northwest to the southeast. The individual cells themselves out ahead of the front have been crawling at 15 to 20 to upwards of 30 miles an hour, which is still relatively slow for most storms, especially in the spring, which can get forward motion up to about 60, 70 miles an hour at times. This one is moving at 15 miles an hour, and so there is a lot of rain being produced with that. Let's go back to reflectivity to give you an idea of just the intensity of the rainfall. All that lightning indicates that this is some very heavy rain at this time. When we turn off the lightning, you'll be able to see that you have a large area that is just with this orange. So these are 1 to 2 inch an hour rainfall rates, maybe even greater in some areas. The same holds true over toward Martins Mill. Let's see which direction this cell is headed. There's Lindale. Lindale's kind of getting squeezed between Tyler and Lindale, and that cell itself, okay, so this whole cell's moving eastward. So we may find ourselves with another tornado warning in the northwestern part of Smith County here within about an hour. So let's put the cone on that, track that to the east at about 30 miles an hour. That one's out to the west are moving a little faster. That's going to move into Smith County at some point. So as it does, let's kind of get a general idea. So Mount Sylvan, so maybe Tyler by about 8 o'clock, Swan at 7:50, Bascom around 8:09, Winona about 8:13. That would be the leading edge. That's going to be this portion of the cell here where the hail could be. But let's go back to track here where there's the inflow notch, and we could have perhaps something that's developing in terms of a hook echo southeast of Martins Mill. So we're going to track from this portion right here eastward at about 30 miles an hour, and that'll take it right into Smith County. And so that timing would be New Harmony at 7:51, Tyler Pounds just before 8 o'clock, Tyler just after 8 o'clock. So at about 8 o'clock, if we're going to get into this cell, we're going to have hail in Tyler, and then that rotation coming overhead. Bascom 8:18, New Chapel Hill at 8:24, should it hold together. But as it stands right now, we got this tornado warning here and the tornado warning in Van Zandt counties. Savannah, can we widen out a little bit farther and see if we have any other tornado warnings ongoing at this time? I don't think so. These were the two most dangerous cells that we were looking at. We were looking down to the south of and west of Crockett. There was a tornado warned cell for a while down there near Waco and Killeen, but it looks like that has weakened as it's moved closer to Madisonville. So that's good news. This is trying to form into a line. If this can get into a line, that'll mitigate the tornado threat and turn it more into perhaps a straight line wind event. And that's not necessarily a good thing either, because we can get wind gusts close to 70 miles an hour. So the tornado warning now has been extended till 8:15 for parts of Upshur County, Gregg County, and Smith County. So let's zoom back in on that part of the cell. So this is a new tornado warning just issued from the National Weather Service, and that is headed toward Wilkins and Winona and also White Oak. So we're going to need to get a new track on this, and we'll track it from right in that point, I think right there on the northeast side of Tyler. So we did have a severe thunderstorm warning issued till 8:15 with a tornado possible. They've gone ahead and just replaced that with a tornado warning, and so that's headed toward Owenton at 7:35. We've always had Owenton in the polygon. Starville 7:43, Gladewater about 8 o'clock. Nothing's changed there. Warren City at 8:09, East Mountain and Gilmer at about 8:21. So that would be a new city that could be in the path of this tornado warned storm in Gilmer. So 8:21. You have a few minutes in Gilmer to gather up your things and then head for your shelter. Remember, turn on your CBS 19 app and follow along using the app. And if you can safely give us any pictures, anything that can help us track these storms, do so using the Near Me feature on the app, or just simply emailing us would be another quick way to do it. But I'd want you to be in your shelter first. That would be the secondary thing that we would want to see. All right, so Gladewater right there, just a few minutes. The cell's moving northeast at roughly 25 to 30 miles an hour. In fact, it may even be moving slower than that, because the Weather Service is tracking it at about 15 miles an hour. And that's why this area in purple here has been placed in effect. That is a flash flood warning. So not only do we have a tornado warning, we have a flash flood warning. So we also have to talk about flash flood problems. That would be driving through a foot of water, rapidly going across a road can move a car, can knock you off your feet. So you certainly don't want to try to cross any type of high water streams or anything like that. It's not something to play around with. It is a really dangerous situation. So you can see that lightning, it continues to increase as that cell continues to increase. All right, so we're going to go let's go back to velocity and see what we've got here. Like we're probably going to, Savannah, probably have to turn off all of those polygons for a minute just to get an idea of where that is. So, yeah, it's tightened up a little bit, don't you guys think?
Yeah, it looks like it. National Weather Service, finally with the area of rotation getting closer to the radar site, they're starting to get a better idea of how things are looking.
Okay, and that's the new scan that's just come in. So the new scan here, and again, I mean, it looks broad, but it looked like this before it produced the tornado in Tyler. And on the west side of Tyler and up through downtown and close to downtown Tyler. So that's a rather broad rotation, but again, we've seen these go through these recycling sort of periods. So when they recycle, in hurricane speak, it would be an eye wall replacement cycle. In this instance, it's sort of maybe a wall cloud replacement cycle, so that it kind of goes through this genesis where it gains strength again, and then a new wall cloud can be produced from a cell like this. So this has moved from this side of town through downtown, now up into northeastern Smith County. So Browning would be close, and I would certainly, Owenton, this is moving toward Owenton right now. And if we zoom in just a little bit more, so County Road 384, please, if you live along County Road 384, please get to your safe place. If you're along FM 2767, also into your safe place. If you can right now, FM 757 also into your safe place. And County Road 376, East Commerce Street. If you live anywhere near downtown Tyler, you're safe for the time being. That storm has moved out of the area. Again, we're watching a storm that is back in Van Zandt County that's also moving to the east. In fact, we'll pan left, go back to that Van Zandt County storm, and you might be able to see right there. So that looks a bit brighter, but boy, that's a really broad rotation. Again, no dashed lines with that, so nothing observed with this cell as it moves into eastern parts of Zandt County, but it is tracking, I believe, eastward toward Mount Sylvan and toward New Harmony. So if you live in those areas, you want to make sure that you are ready to head to your safe place when you can, in case the tornado warning gets extended into parts of Smith County. But currently, we have the Smith, Gregg, Upshur County. All those 3 counties are under a tornado warning. So we'll go back to those 3 counties, and let's zoom in over here, because what I'm trying to do is break down so it's just a small portion of Gregg County. So there's northwestern Gregg County, there's White Oak, here's Liberty City. So let's widen this out a little bit here so we can see this portion of Gregg County. So White Oak is in the severe thunderstorm warning. I would go to my safe place if I lived in White Oak. There's Wilkins, that is in it. So this is southern Upshur County. There's Pritchard. So southern Upshur County. Gilmer's going to be up here, but you are ready and getting ready to go to your safe place. Winona is very close to that circulation. That's the circulation we're talking about. And it looks like it is likely headed up. Can we run that back in just a quick loop for maybe the last hour or so? And you'll notice here, it looks like it's moving. It's keeping a straight, direct northeast path. All right, so it hasn't really changed much. At times it's increased in intensity, and that's why we had the tornado. But yeah, it looks like it's continuing to move northeastward. It's approaching Interstate 20 right now. So if you were in Lindale and you were headed toward Shreveport, I would wait. Don't leave yet. If you know somebody that is driving at Interstate 20 coming west toward Lindale or toward Tyler, I would have them pull off the road and wait for the cell to pass. If they were leaving Longview and, say, driving over toward Tyler, I'd wait. I'd wait till at least 8 o'clock to leave because we need this cell to move northeastward. And this is a really good view of this. You can see how it's spinning and moving northeastward. So that gives us kind of an idea of where that circulation is right now. Another little circulation trying to pop up here toward Browning. All right, let's freeze this since we have a better view of what we're looking at. And we'll give you this. This is the now view. And this is why we have the tornado warning where it is. And also in that purple area, that's the flash flood warning.
Yeah, go ahead. Interrupt. National Weather Service. They're not worried about the Zandt County tornado warning anymore. Circulation has really broadened out, so they have canceled the warning. So we can remove that and not have to really worry about that as much.
Okay, so that's good to know.
Yeah.
I think that'll kind of give everybody sort of an easier, because that looks like that's headed toward Smith County, so we certainly don't need 2 tornado warnings in Smith County in one night.
Yeah, it looks like it's starting to become more multicellular and clustered, and the environment with these storms are starting to fight each other out to our west and southwest.
So here's I'm seeing some video in our what we call the BAM, or the big monitor there, and you can see there it is. Okay, so there's is that UT Health, or that's the other bill? That's a bank. That's the bank. Yeah. So that's what we had live on air for you a few minutes ago, and we're kind of pointing out with that pointer there. There it is. So you can see that was a tornado. It was briefly on the ground, and may have done some damage in that area. That's probably crossing near 5th Irwin, UT Health, as it continued working its way northeastward. You can see the inflow up coming into the storm. And yeah, that is impressive to look at. So I don't see any debris being lofted. That's good news, but that we had a tornado in Tyler tonight, and we captured that on our camera live on air. So we were showing you and tracking that for you. That's this cell right here as it moved back to the north, as it moved northeastward. From the Andy Woods area, we picked that up near Andy Woods on our CBS 19 studio camera, and then tracked that all the way up to the north and through downtown, and then now that cell sits right here south of Interstate 20. So that's why I said anybody that's on Interstate 20, they need to be, halting. If you were in Kilgore and you had plans to drive to Lindale or something like that, you just want to stay where you are. Same holds true if you're in Lindale, if you're out toward Van. If you're in Tyler, you're not going to try to get out on the highway and head east toward Shreveport. You want to stay right where you are. So let's zoom in on this area here. Again, we have That portion of the storm, tornado warned until 8:15. That's for Gregg, Smith, and Upshur County. And that is a broad rotation. It has gotten a little bit tighter recently, but at this time, it doesn't look real threatening, but we have to wait and see exactly how things are going to play out. I see a report coming in from a confirmed spotter report, and he is southwest of Winona. And what is he reporting? Hail. Oh, $half sized hail.
Also, wanted to give a little clarity on some of, we sent out some crews to check out a couple of the spots we were keeping an eye out for in the National Weather Service chat, one of them over at TJC, the other at 5th and Beckham. Looks like at 5th and Beckham there were a few branches down, but nothing too severe in that area. And then over on TJC's campus, a tent was flipped over, but they were able to get it back upright. And it looks like, other than that, nothing else being reported over at TJC on the other side of town.
Okay. All right. So if it did touch down, it was brief and maybe not doing much damage at all. I wonder over toward the UT Health area if anything like that has been reported. Again, we didn't see any, and I was trying to look on our radar to see if we had any kind of debris lofted into the air, but I was having difficulty trying to switching the Savannah. I'm going to switch this back over to the debris tracker real fast and see if I can pop up anything and run it back in the last couple of hours. I'll put this in at the bottom. Just waiting for this to load, and then we will. I'll put this. We're probably not. It's hard to tell. I'll walk this through real slowly here. See if there's anything on that cell as it comes through. Tyler, there it's tornado warned. White House. Wow. Hard to tell. Can't really see anything that would be suggestive of any type of debris that would be, building material, maybe other than tree limbs and things like that. Doesn't look like anything really got lofted. There's a little bit of something about 6:53. That's about the time we did have the tornado warning ongoing. So that would be right in this ballpark here as that was crossing. So there may have been a little bit of debris lofted into the air. There's other possible, but this could be just some contamination within the radar. But that would correlate with where we had as the storm was moving on the north side of town through downtown Tyler out toward Highway 31. So that was at 6:54. That was about a half hour ago, and that's about where that cell was. I'll back this up just a hair again, just to see if there's anything else earlier in that. So yeah, right there. Okay, so tough to tell. Let me go back to. I'll just go to velocity and see. I'm trying to correlate this with some other things here to make sure that that's what we're seeing, but
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
yeah, very hard to tell.
Especially because we're not in the best of spots
Can
as far
you
as distance
off
from
the
the
sweeping radar?
Shreveport radar.
Yeah. Again, we're looking at a pretty far area across. We'd have to go up to the sweeping radar and then go up and change that to the differential reflectivity tab, just to see if it's all the way at the bottom. Yeah, there is some there. But this is current, so we'd have to back this up about an hour. So we're not seeing any. This is likely the hail that we're seeing there. And what I'm looking at there is when you say differential reflectivity, we're looking at the differences in the precipitation, the sizes and shape. And so when it comes up different, it sorts it into different bins. And so when it sorts it into these different colors, that would tell us that there could be some hail. So that could have been the hail core that we saw across that came up behind the cell. This could be something a little bit different, but pretty tough to tell from that vantage point. Savannah, if you could just kind of walk that through minute by minute here. What we're doing is I'm basically doing my homework here on air, trying to figure out. There's the tornado warning got issued. There's a little bit. This is probably the hail core, as it looks like these are larger objects that are being picked up by this radar product. That was the rotation that was picked up, and if it went right on through downtown at 718, then that's the hail. All right, so let's go back to our velocity and/or reflectivity image. And for the time being, let's take a look outside again, or we can go, there it is. All right, so this is what it looks like right now and really tough to tell anything with this cell as it has moved up to the northeast. We're going to give you a live look here at radar again. We'll go to velocity so we can see what we're looking at in this cell. This just looks like a weaker and weaker circulation. This is good news. I wondered what would happen once we got closer to sunset, if we'd lose just enough of the sun's energy, enough of that buoyancy in the atmosphere that was maybe creating just enough lift that we see this weaken, and it looks like it's weakening rather rapidly. So I don't know if we'll get this tornado warning to last till 8:15, but it does include Winona, and it does continue. So we need to make sure that this isn't trying to just kind of go through a recirculation and come back up as a different type of tornado warning in a different spot. So let's go back to reflectivity, and if we get a chance, and we might be able to go and look at the hail core through here, because we've had reports of some 1.25 inch sized hail with this cell as it's moved up into northeast. You can see these bright pink areas crossing Interstate 20. If there's anybody driving on Interstate 20, that would be another reason to tell folks to hold up if they were trying to come through the area, because you don't want to drive through a big hail core as it crosses over the interstate. That's not huge, but you look at the track, there it is. So in northeastern Smith County, we had maybe closer to golf ball sized hills in that bright blue area, and that continued moving northeastward. Right there to the northeast side of Tyler. That was right in that part of that circulation, and the strongest part of the circulation. So at 1 inch, at least quarters, getting closer up to ping pong ball sized hail. So large hail was a threat tonight, but also the tornado was also a threat. If this is the latest image, it looks like the hail core has come down quite a bit. So if the hail cores come down, then let's see what the lightning looks like on this. If the lightning's coming down, we've seen the rotation. The rotation is certainly weakened. The lightning still looks pretty intense. We're concerned about power outages too because of the lightning. Look at all the lightning out around Martins Mill, west of Lindale. So Lindale, you're going to get quite the electric storm coming in here in the next few minutes. So it's really going to be loud, and it's going to be flashy for sure. Yeah.
Storm spotter is on the storm at I-20 and Highway 271, and he has no reportable criteria.
Okay. So yeah, so it looks like it's weakening to the point where, yeah, they may just let this warning drop.
And that might be a new severe thunderstorm warning, maybe. If it hasn't loaded in the chat quite yet. But yeah, our latest storm spotter, no reportable criteria, and he's on the storm on 20 right now.
All right, let's go back to velocity, and I think we can. This has been a pretty good indication of what we've seen here. So this is the inbound wind going toward the radar. This is the outbound wind going away from the radar. And notice over here, our Titan indicator is indicating some rotation near Martins Mill, but nothing here. We had some rotation being picked up, at least by our Titan indicator, as that cell was tornado warned earlier. So it still has the tornado possible tag on it. And we've seen this a couple weeks ago. We had a tornado warning out in the Arlington area, and they kept that tornado possible tag on that cell because it did produce a tornado the whole way into Rusk County before they allowed that to drop. So that may get even if it's a severe thunderstorm warning, as it moves up into, say, through northern Upshur County and into Morris County, they may keep a tornado possible tag on it as a severe thunderstorm warned storm. But right now, that is what we're looking at in terms of the warning. We're going to get another update here in just a second. It looks like it just updated. And again, we just had a storm spotter right out here, 271 going up toward Winona near I-20, and he said no reportable criteria. So he wasn't seeing any lowering, no wall cloud visible at this time as that cell lifted north. But again, it just looks like it may have, and again, this can happen, tightened up just a little bit. So please, if you're in Winona, stay in that safe place. Gladewater, I would go to my safe place right now, wait for this to ride it out. This is only about another half hour that you need to do that. Take your CBS 19 app along with you. And by the way, I think we're on the air with our, on the air right now for severe weather at this hour with our radio partners, and that does include, that's going to include 106.5 Jack FM. It's also going to include Kicks 105.7, the 104.1 The Ranch, and La Invasora at 96.7. We'll return to normal programming when the threat has passed. But for right now, if you're listening on the radio, you're hearing us, and you're hearing us because there is a tornado warning that has been issued for Smith, Gregg, and Upshur County for the next half hour. So that warning continues. The Weather Service continues to watch those cell. There are trained spotters on these cells right now. We have meteorologist Chandler Jordan and Savannah Hale here in the Weather Center tracking this storm tonight with a sometimes under a slight risk you can have a tornado warning. So you can certainly not rule out even when there's a 2% chance like there was today. It's a low end chance. But sometimes you could have something like this spin up. So that has been our biggest storm, our strongest storm by standards of tornado. I mean, there may be, even if we get a bigger hailstone tonight, I don't know that it's going to match a storm that produces a tornado. But right here, and this looks like this is going to be, it looks like we're starting to see, I mean, really broad rotation, but just a little bit tighter here, just south of Interstate 20, closer to Winona as it moves northward. So that's Gregg, Smith, Upshur County till 8:15. Savannah, let's put a track on that and see where that's headed. Is it moving, I guess, northeast at what, 26 miles an hour? Is that what you got on that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what cities is that headed through? I got to check something out here.
Starville at 7:59, Gladewater at about 8:24, Union Grove at about 8:30, a little bit before 8:29, East Mountain at 8:38, and then Glenwood at about 8:44.
Okay. I'm just going to check out some Twitter images here. That's cool. There's a really great shot of a rainbow behind all this. We'll post that picture later. Not seeing anything else from the Weather Service. I'm going to check on Facebook, see if there's anybody that's posted any photos or any images of the storm. All right. Yeah, so we are on with our radio partners, just getting confirmed to that, and they've been on for a while. All right, and let's see.
Some more good news. No damage or power outages reported from UT Health Hospital, and that's from ham operator John Newman.
Okay, that's great. All right. Okay, so this is the cell southwest of Starville. Starville, let's be in our safe place right now. That brighter red, so that's wind going away. It is a little bit stronger. The winds that we're sampling going away from the radar right now. Gladewater is also on the edge of that storm. Union Grove at 8:29, East Mountain at 8:38. That's on up the road quite a bit. The severe thunderstorm warning surrounds the tornado warning. The severe thunderstorm warning goes until 8:15 with the possibility of a tornado. And then the tornado warning has the black hatch marks through it, and that indicates that we had a confirmed tornado. We did in Tyler, but now that we've gone several miles outside of Tyler, we have not had any reports of anything else showing up. We still have this cell over here that was in Zandt County. They dropped the tornado warning on that, so really it's all about this cell right here, and we're going to have to ride this out till we get to about the next 25 minutes to see if that cell can reach or kind of regenerate and get a little bit stronger as it moves into northwestern parts of Gregg County. Longview, by the way, not in the tornado warning, nor is Kilgore, nor Harleton. So if you live in Longview or Kilgore, yeah, you may be getting rain and thunder, but you're not going to get this cell passing overhead that could create the tornado warning. Let's go back to reflectivity so we can see what's going on outside of that cell. In fact, Longview not even getting rain right now. Kilgore has some rumbles of thunder off to the distance. Overton, that cell sort of, it stayed up to the northwest of Overton, but was closer to Owenton. Through Browning, there's Winona right on the edge of that. And again, there may be some flash flooding in parts of Smith County, so please don't try to drive through any deep water tonight. It doesn't take much. You can have, a foot of water. That can knock you off your feet if it's fast flowing. About 3 feet of water can easily sweep a car off a road. So that's another concern with a very slow-moving cell like this. You're also seeing some pinks from time to time when the live radar scan goes through, and that's an indication that we're getting some hail the size of perhaps some quarter-size hail or larger. All right, meteorologist Chandler Jordan is standing by with some new information. Chandler?
Yeah, you know what? We had some pretty impressive video that we were able to capture from our studio camera as the tornado started to get more of an evolution in its life cycle. You can see where it's very broad at first, but you can see the rapid increase of clouds and moisture into the base of the storm. And as the tornado begins to continue to tap into the environment that it's able to work with, you can notice where we really start to see the rotation tighten up. The structure itself of the funnel starts to become more evident. And this is where we had the funnel reports out towards Green Acres. We also had some reports of some minor damage out towards 5th and Beckham, as well as TJC's campus. But really, over the span of 15 to 20 seconds, that's all it took for the rotation to start to tighten up, the moisture to start to increase as well into the base of the storm, and that's where you start to get a little more of a significant funnel. And this is exactly where we had the reports of a funnel out towards Green Acres, over towards TJC, as well as around UT's hospital system. And this storm is what we've been continuing to monitor as it's continuing to move off to the north and east up towards I-20, as well as Highway 271. And then almost in what seems like a flash, we see the funnel dissipate. There's still rotation very broadly in the base of the cloud, but at that point, the funnel that we had a really good eye on here at our CBS 19 studio camera at that point had started to dissipate and lift back up into the sky. And it seems like, Brett, you know, over the lifespan of the storm, we've had moments where the storm itself was very strong, funnel produced, and now, you know, we're starting to get back to where we have moments where there's still broad rotation worth respecting, but, you know, thankfully nothing as dangerous or life-threatening as we had a little earlier this evening.
Yeah, that's for sure. And on our reflectivity, you can see this little inflow notch here, and maybe some we've got some flanking downdraft clouds behind it. So right in here, we're likely seeing another circulation, or at least some rotation within the cloud trying to form. Now, it's clustered up, and so as it absorbs and ingests other storms, sometimes that cuts off the energy, and as it does, this cell itself could weaken. But right now, it has a nice forward anvil going through it. It's got a lot of probably warm air coming in from the south and from the southwest, maybe even some cooler air here at Overton. We'll see how that influences the storm. And in fact, as I say that little bit of a hook on the reflectivity disappeared. So yeah, it may just be one of those things. Sometimes it can choke off the inflow. If it chokes off the inflow, it stops the warm air, the moist air flowing into the thunderstorm, and that's the fuel it needs. And if it doesn't have the fuel, then it just kind of shuts down. So let's go back to velocity and see if that sort of correlates with what we're seeing there.
And I do want to add, I know that when we had the confirmed tornado earlier, Brett, I know the signature on radar wasn't that impressive.
Yeah.
And it's not that impressive right now. But the fire department, Larry Locke, is reporting on fire radio a tornado on the ground at 155 and 271 just south of I-20.
That would be right in here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that, I mean, just looking at that, it could have been briefly.
Yeah.
And
These things in the span of, 10, 15 seconds can pulse up and down and produce funnels and dissipate. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's all I was going to say, too. But then, we had the reports of the storm spotter in the area who had no reportable criteria. So certainly, the lifespan of these things can change in a pretty quick instant.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what we talk about, the recycling. I mean, they're just going through these constant, if you want to call them wall cloud replacement cycle. It's not really a term, but I'm trying to kind of correlate that. Sometimes we talk about in a hurricane, the eye wall replacement cycle is when that storm just sort of goes through this whole process and then comes back out strong again for a moment or two. In a hurricane situation, it's often stronger. But here in this, it may just be one of those instances where it briefly cranks back up a little bit, and then it can start to weaken. But yeah, on that reflectivity image that I just showed you, it certainly had a good inflow. It had a little bit of tornado vortex signature to it, a little hook echo, and then in that next scan, it disappeared. And when we compare that with our velocity scan here, we need to pull this up a little bit so we can see where that right in here. So yeah, it looks like it's gone back to where it was. So it could have briefly produced something. That's why it's important to stay in your safe place in Winona and Browning, and that's why this tornado warning continues till 8:15. We'll see if it continues on up the road, but just having that and then that report from the fire department, was it the fire department?
Yeah, it was fire radio in that area.
And that was, so south of Winona, And where was that?
That was just south of 20 on 55 at 271.
Okay, so Savannah, can we zoom in kind of on that area? So it's just south of 20, near 271 on what, 155? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Right in that area near County Road
Oh,
384.
Yeah. Oh, right here. Okay, so that is right in that area where it would have been. All right, so if you're on County Road 384, if you're in Owenton, we've been urging you to stay in your safe place in Owenton as this storm moves through. County Road 370 is also within that circulation. 2767, County Road 385, if you live on any of those roads, you're safe. You can come out of your shelter right now and you'll be fine for the rest of the night. If you live anywhere close to 271, any of these roads coming off of 271 in northern Smith County, in southwestern Upshur County or western Gregg County, please be in your safe place right now. And when we talk about the safe place, we're talking about that lowest level floor, the innermost room that you can possibly get to, and you're staying there. Make sure it doesn't have any windows or as few windows as possible. You could take some pillows and blankets with you, maybe even a bike helmet just to provide extra protection for your head. Sometimes folks will go to innermost closets in their house in a hallway, and the idea there is you're still putting 8 walls between you and the outside. And the thing you want to think about, if you could stand in the center of your house and count the 4 outside walls, and then you see some interior walls in your house, and if that's a room without glass, then that'd be a room you could stay in. If for some reason it's an office or if it's a bedroom or something like that, that's what we're talking about. These rooms that put as much protection between outside and where we are inside our house. So that was the area that we were focusing in on, where we just had reports of a tornado on the ground. Have not had any other reports, but again, on reflectivity, let's go back to reflectivity and see if we get any other type of inflow notch being reported. So it's right in here. This is the area that I would have the most concern, as again, you're getting colder air that's being forced down behind it. It still seems to be ingesting some warmer air into the storm here. You do have that thunderstorm at Overton, and it has yet to really catch up to it. Once it can, I think it would be more of a hail threat than, say, a tornado threat with this cell. So those lines indicate that a tornado is possible, and we've had reports just recently that there may have been a tornado on the ground out here near 271 and 155 up in the northern part of the county.
Yeah, Emergency Manager Michael Searcy, he's also positioned looking at the storm, and he said if there's something there, it would definitely be rain-wrapped. He can't really see anything, but he's at least in position looking for power flashes.
Oh, okay. In that same area.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lightning up there, so that would certainly be possible. So a lot of heavy rain also coming down. Savannah, can you switch over to the precipitation rate on and see what we get here? We probably have to turn off the lightning so we really get a good shot of that. But once we do, we'll kind of give you just how hard it's raining. This is a good view taking off the lightning here. You can see that little notch right there. So that's warm air wrapping in. And then we're getting that flanking downdraft winds or clouds back here on the backside of this storm system. So there it is. That's the precipitation rate. We'll turn off all of these warning layers, and you'll be able to see. So if this thing is rain wrapped, that's because we're looking at 3-inch rainfall rates. So if it's here, if that's where the circulation, if that's where the tornado is, there's no way to see that. There's absolutely no way to see that if it's right in here, especially if you were a chaser and you were looking up to the southeast. So the rainfall rate there is almost 3 inches an hour. And here would be that flanking downdraft burst, and that's going to be heavy rain on top of that. So just a quick note aside. So I chased a tornado, EF4, a few years back in Kansas, and it was rain-wrapped, and it was a mile-wide rain-wrapped tornado, and I was in sort of behind it back here in this position. There was no way I could see anything other than rain. And as it moved, we could never get outside of the rain in the circulation. But all you could see were flashes from time to time, and you would hear reports from other chasers in the area that you had a serious large tornado doing damage. And it was you could not see it coming just because of the amount of rainfall that was coming in. So a couple of things are happening here. We're getting close to sunset now. In fact, sunset was 7:55, so it's likely after sunset. You've got a rain-wrapped potential tornado, so that's really dangerous. So let's zoom in on this area near 271. If there are any roads up here that we can get folks So FM 160, so Starville, please be in your safe place. FM 16 East, 1252, County Road 366, even Waters Bluff and Winona, I would be in my safe place right now, because if you do have a rain-wrapped tornado, you're not going to be able to see it coming, and I wouldn't recommend anybody being outside looking for this, but it could come upon you so fast where the rain is coming down and then the wind comes in with it. And a lot of times you have so much rain that the downdrafts of the heavy rainfall can do a little bit of damage, and you might think that's it, and then you get the real brunt of the storm when it comes in with a rain-wrapped tornado. So that's FM 16 East. This is Starville, 120 or 1252. So hopefully you're in your safe place as this storm lifts northeastward. And this is along 271. So this is in that same vicinity here. This could likely be a very tight, strong inflow notch that we're seeing. This is just a different perspective. This is precipitation rate. So we're not looking at reflectivity. This is looking at the intensity of the rain. If we put the lightning back on here, you would see just why we look at lightning sometimes as an indicator of how strong the thunderstorm is or what the rainfall rates are. Look at all the lightning inside this cell right now. So this is not only a possible rain-wrapped tornado, but it's also a lightning show that's going on, dangerous lightning, maybe knocking out power for some, and they're just a new flash of lightning near Waters Bluff. And this is headed up toward, up Interstate 20, or this is Interstate 20, this is 271, as it's going to head up toward, I believe, Big Sandy and up toward Gilmer. But this storm and toward Gladewater. So Big Sandy's okay, you're outside of it. So this is where we had reports of a possible tornado on the ground, and now that's moved to the east. So Winona, I think you're in the safe place right now, because that cell has moved over into the east of that. So that's the tornado warn portion of the storm now till 8:15. So it's right in here. Liberty City is just outside that polygon, but man, I'm watching that carefully. Gladewater now, it's time to head to your shelter because the cell is getting a little bit closer. If you haven't gone there yet, please go to your safe place now. Take your CBS 19 app with you, or take your radio, because we are live on air with our radio partners, 106.5 Jack FM, Kicks 105.7, 104 The Ranch in Ventura, 96.7. We'll go back to normal programming when that threat is passed, but right now it's still a threat, with reflectivity showing a lot of lightning, and we'll kind of widen this out and maybe pan this up a little bit to get it away from that banner. So right in here is where we still have that potential for some rotation coming in. And again, that's at least on reflectivity. If we wait for ground truth on this one, it might be a little bit late because it could be rain wrapped. So let's pull that up a little bit closer, a little bit farther. Yeah. Oh, you can stay wider on that. Yeah. And then let's take a look at velocity. I want to stay above that banner so that folks can see that. Okay, so there it is, right in here. So now this is crossed over Interstate 20 toward Winona, but Winona is looking to the north, looking to the southeast is where Winona would be looking at that storm. So I think Winona, you need to stay in your safe place, but you should be okay. This cell should move past Winona with no problems, but Gladewater would be an area that needs to watch it. And anywhere between I-20 and Gladewater along 271 going into Gladewater, up into northeastern Smith County and western parts of Gregg County. Kilgore, you're fine. Longview, you're fine. It's Gladewater that we have the concern with. And let's zoom in and find some other communities.
Yeah, it looks like the rotation's really broadened out the last couple of scans.
Yeah, it does. It's hard to see anything there. We've seen that happen a couple different times.
Yeah, that's what it looks like on we use a different app as well, Radar Scope.
Oh, yeah.
It's broadened out and the reds aren't as bright.
Right, yeah, maybe it's gusting out. Maybe.
Yeah, because the cells themselves are starting to become more clustered too.
That's good. Again, that'll choke off that inflow. Oh, yeah, so it's fine. It's merging. So cell merger will definitely be good in this instance. All right, so Savannah, let's go back to reflectivity and widen it out, and then you could take off all the warnings for a second and run back a loop so we can see just kind of how those cells are starting to merge. Widen that out a little bit.
Michael Searcy, he's just east of 271 on I-20. He said no signs of a tornado. Rotation isn't evident as much either.
Okay, widen that out just a tad more. I want to be able to see what's coming in from Cherokee County. So this is really good. So you can see now we're just going to cluster up here. We are just going to have like all Crockett right now, and this is probably a good time. We've been concentrating on this storm so much up here to the north. Let's give everybody sort of a big picture view here while we can. So we've got heavy thunderstorms moving across Cherokee County into Nacogdoches County. Crockett, we were talking about a cell out toward Waco. It was at 6 o'clock. It was 2 hours away. It's there now. So it's 8 o'clock, and the rain has just erupted over Houston County, Anderson County, heavy thunderstorm. We've got heavy rain across all of Smith County right now. This cell here, which was so powerful in Van Zandt County and slow moving, is really starting to lose its energy. This is the strongest cell as it crosses out of northeast Smith County into western parts of Gregg County. And then you have this one would be a little bit concerning moving in toward Anderson County, but again, it looks like it's ingesting other storms. That looks like down toward Bryan and Huntsville. That looks like that's got potentially, that's rotating. That's a spinner. And that could have some very strong winds going with it, but it looks like it's headed down toward Conroe more so than over toward Angelina or Houston County. So not going to worry about that cell for you in Houston County and Angelina County. Remember, Angelina County was not in the severe thunderstorm watch, nor was San Augustine or Sabine County, and only the northern half of Nacogdoches County. Cherokee County, right now, the thunder is increasing here. Rusk County, you're just about ready to get into some very heavy rain as it comes down. We'll pan up here toward Longview if you live in Longview, and we can zoom in on Longview and into Kilgore. There's very heavy rainfall coming into Longview. In fact, if we stop this, we can probably track when you're going to get into the heaviest rain. This is now starting moving east, I believe, a little faster than it was. It was moving east about 15 miles an hour. It's probably moving east more like in the order of about 25 to 30, like the rest of the cells have been moving most of the day. So that's going to be into Longview here within about 20 minutes, the heaviest rain. The leading edge of the rain may be there a little bit sooner. That part of the cell there is in Longview in 20 minutes. Gregton, about 8:16. Hallsville, about 8:47. It's just minutes from White Oak. If you live in White Oak, you're probably getting it right now. It's just starting to knock on your door. You're certainly hearing thunder, but it's about to let loose and pour in White Oak. And then over towards Stewart here by about 8:33. Meantime, looks like less lightning over southern parts of Smith County, White House and Bullard. Back toward Jacksonville also, it's just rain coming down at this time. Palestine, that's a pretty good thunderstorm. Mineola, you have that cell that's weakened a lot before it moves in to Mineola. So it'll rain in Mineola, equipment up in Yantis here real soon. There's Lake Fork. It looks like Lake Fork is going to be a few showers and thunderstorms on the north side of that, maybe closer to Yantis. Coming over toward Marion County and Harrison County, these thunderstorms are still likely about 45 minutes away before they make it over into those areas. Down here in Rusk County, we could probably track that portion of the storm for you as it moves from Jacksonville into Rusk County. Mount Enterprise, right on the doorstep of some heavier rain. The heaviest rain is still going to be probably 45 minutes to an hour away. But again, these cells are now starting to come together, merge, and as they merge, when they're merged like this, there is certainly less of a tornado threat. Sometimes there can be a bit of a hail threat, but less of a tornado threat.
The National Weather Service, they're in agreement with what we were talking about just a few minutes ago. They've noticed a disorganizing trend over the last 10 minutes. The hook that we were closely watching, really not there anymore. They say rotation is even less than what it was earlier when they initially issued the tornado warning, and they are set to let the tornado warning expire here in 5 minutes as long as trends continue. And our emergency manager, Michael Searcy, who is at the storm off of 271 and 20. He said he's at the base of where the rotation was located, I should say, and he said that it is quickly losing structure as well. So as long as we can continue on this trend, it sounds like we'll be all good to go here in the next 5.
5 minutes? All right. So 5 minutes more, we'll let you go back to regular programming, and this would be a severe thunderstorm warning. And I really think we'll keep an eye on it. I don't want to speak too soon, but just based on radar images right now, and looking at everything here, the way these showers and thunderstorms are sort of just becoming one large cluster, heavy rain will be a bigger threat. Lightning and dangerous lightning, always a threat. will then transition over to that. You can see this is really just congealing into one large thunderstorm complex. There are some isolated thunderstorms behind it back in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. No warnings on those cells. I believe these cells will be moving through maybe even after midnight and later tonight. So let's go back over to Chandler Jordan, who's got some more information. Chandler?
Yeah, we have some more video that we got actually from TJC. And I'm going to step back here so I can kind of take a better look at it. It looks like they are quite literally under what was the funnel that we saw reported over at TJC in Green Acres a little earlier this evening when a tornado warning moved through. You can see what appears to be, hard to tell there, what that was, a little blob in the sky.
Looked like a little building shingle, like a shingle or something.
Maybe a shingle, yeah. And then there was a tent in this video, and I think that's the tent that we were talking about that was blown over on campus. But yeah, there's looks like to be right under, not the best place that you want to be, but they are quite literally directly under the rotation, it looks like.
They must have some kind of event going on.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I'm looking at some other video here from...
Very impressive video.
Yeah, I'm thankful. We're very thankful for the folks who have sent in some video tonight. There's another video that came into our newsroom that we'll try to share with you maybe by 10 o'clock. It looks like it's from a similar vantage point that we had. Yeah, this is from outside our station. This video is shot with someone traveling eastbound on the loop, looking back to the southwest, and they can see the funnel also forming in that area. So that's a really good shot. That just confirms what else we were seeing there across the area. So thank you to Josie Kendall for sending in that video.
Yeah, and then also the funnel itself. So that correlates to what those folks out at TJC were directly under, right under this rotation that was moving right over Green Acres. And then it quickly just, the life cycle of a tornado, it can be very quick.
Oh yeah, and that did spin up pretty quickly because we watched it as the rotation was beginning to increase over Andy Woods, and then it moved closer to 110, and then up toward 5th and Beckham. Here's some other video. This looks like someone is shooting from the hospital.
Yeah, it looks like nurse scrubs there in the front of the camera, but that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
In the main frame.
Oh, right. And this is exactly where, I mean, this is going to be, we were looking at it looking north, and they are looking at it really almost right as it's coming into the hospital parking lot.
Yeah, and some good news. National Weather Service, they say not only the tornado warning, but the severe thunderstorm warning that also is in effect until quarter after. They are going to let both expire as the storm has trended beneath criteria for both.
Okay, and we have another video here, and this is going to come to us from, look, just Old Jacksonville Road. So this is where we first had reports of a possible funnel in the Old Jacksonville area and Cumberland. All right, so Old Jacksonville and Cumberland, which would have been right in that vicinity. Certainly you can see the rising motion and the rotation also in that cell.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, that really was. I was trying to get a view of that from our Chase Bank building camera, but we couldn't see that low. That really, I mean, if we had that view, I mean, that's why the spotter, and that's why they issued, that's why they issued the severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag on it, and then they issued the tornado warning shortly after that, as it looks like. Oh, look at the tree! You can see the tree inflow into the storm. Oh, that's fascinating to see that. Yeah, this is fantastic video. The homeowner here. I mean, how scary is this? Because this looks like this passes almost right over top of them.
Yeah, no, that is a scary sight. And when I was driving in a little bit earlier, once the warning was issued, you know, you could see where the skies had started to turn green as well.
Oh yeah, with some hail. All right, so this is our tower camera shot again. And again, we're going to be going off air here soon that the severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado warning have been allowed to expire. So the other view from Old Jacksonville Road near Cumberland was closer, but then the view that we're seeing here now from our camera, this is as it moved north of that area and then went closer to Biloxi and then crossed over Andy Woods, and then certainly, I mean, look how fast that spins up.
Yeah, it does. It's a matter of a half minute.
There was, I mean, I was wondering if it would strengthen, if we'd start to see debris flying, but if it was on the ground, it might have been on the ground briefly. But remember, all it has to do is it touches the ground, it's considered a tornado. If it never touches the ground, it remains a funnel cloud. But that was certainly a tornado here. And that caused us to have a tornado warning that is now just starting to expire at this time. So,
and a great job by the National Weather Service too to implement the relatively new possible tag that they've been adding on severe thunderstorm warnings.
yeah, that has really been very helpful, and that almost increases the amount of lead time for any type of warning out of this. So instead of waiting for that funnel to have hit the ground, I mean, now you have a severe thunderstorm warning tornado possible tag. When we issue that, immediately during, for instance, 6 o'clock news, we got that at the end at about 6:25. And so it was important to get back on and talk about a tornado possible tag on that. And then when we were in break going into 6:30, that tornado warning was issued seconds later. So we were able to get on air real fast and give folks the warning. And then putting that camera on it was essential because, again, no matter, radar can tell us so much, eyes on the prize really give us that confirmation of what is going on at ground level. Remember, we're shooting from Shreveport into storms. We're shooting from Dallas into these storms, sometimes a couple thousand feet off the surface. Then you get down what's going on at the surface. You need spotters. You need trained spotters. You need volunteers. You need ham radio operators. It's a coordinated effort. It really is. They call it the integrated warning team. And that integration comes from media. It comes from the National Weather Service. It comes from ham radio operators. It comes from Skywarn spotters all working together to provide information, to provide emergency managers are also included in that. All of that network to get a warning out like this and to get everyone into a safe place before damage could have been greater than what it was. And it was minimal at best here, but we did have a tornado warning. And it will go down. We'll probably have a little survey team come out from the National Weather Service, and they'll look and find out exactly where that path was that storm as it moved across parts of Smith County and parts across Tyler. But again, these thunderstorms continue, now moving into Nacogdoches at this time, and down toward Lufkin, over toward Center and Hemphill. Crockett right now, this is heavy rainfall. Palestine getting some heavy rainfall, and into western parts of Gregg County and northwestern Rusk County. If we can zoom in on that western part of Gregg County, northwestern Rusk County portion of the storm, I'm only doing this because the lightning is as strong as it is anywhere right here, now moving into Kilgore. So Kilgore, you're getting a really good thunderstorm. Gladewater, no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. So if you're in Gladewater, you can come out of your safe place. And Kilgore, also keep an eye on the sky. If there are any other warnings issued tonight, of course, we won't hesitate to come back on and bring you the latest up-to-date information on these tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings. But for now, we are going to, now that it looks like it's relatively in the clear, we are going to send it back to regular programming. So for meteorologist Chandler Jordan and Savannah Hale, I'm CBS 19 Chief Meteorologist Brett Anthony. Thanks for staying with us tonight and allowing us to keep you safe on this CBS 19 Eye on Weather Day.